Hello and welcome to Paying It Forward, your tech learning hub. I'm Peter, here to share my experiences and insights to help you navigate your own journey in technology. Each video on this channel follows a unique structure designed to make the content as clear and digestible as possible. We start with a brief overview of what we'll cover in the video. This is followed by an agenda that breaks down the content into chapters, allowing you to navigate easily to the sections you're most interested in. After that, we delve into the main content, breaking down complex tech concepts into understandable points. At the end of the video, there's an appendix for additional useful information related to the topic. And remember, at Paying It Forward, we believe in making tech accessible to everyone and fostering a community of continuous learners. So sit back, grab a notepad, and let's dive into today's topic. Today, we'll be learning about Microsoft Azure DevOps for non-developers. Are you curious about Azure DevOps but find it all a bit overwhelming? Maybe you've heard about some of the things in there like boards, repos or pipelines, but you aren't quite sure how they fit together. If so, you're in the right place. We're embarking on an exciting tour of Azure DevOps, breaking it down into easy to understand pieces. Whether you're completely new to this world or looking to brush up on specific areas, this video is tailored just for you. We'll explore key components, demystify queries, and even take a behind the scenes look. So grab your virtual tour hat and let's dive into the fascinating world of Azure DevOps together. Welcome to our adventure into the world of Azure DevOps. Here's a sneak peek of what we'll explore today. We'll start with what is Azure DevOps. We'll demystify this powerful platform and discover what makes it an essential tool for many teams. Next, we'll talk about what are the different areas of Azure DevOps. Third, we'll be taking our first look at Azure DevOps. Whether you're a newcomer or seasoned tech enthusiast, today's exploration has something for everyone. What is Azure DevOps? Let's start with what it is. Picture your favourite team sport. For me, that's football. Everyone working together, passing the ball, aiming for the goal. Azure DevOps is the game plan for teams in the workplace. It's a set of tools that help teams work together more smoothly, whether they're creating software or managing intricate projects. With Azure DevOps, turning ideas into finished products becomes a more organised and enjoyable process, just like scoring a goal that wins the match. Now let's look into the different areas of Azure DevOps. There's 5 in total that we'll look at today. The first of those is Boards. Think of Azure Boards like a digital bulletin board where you can pin all of your tasks, just like sticky notes. Imagine planning a big family dinner. You'd use the board to assign who's making what dish, track progress, and make sure everything's ready on time. Especially when you bring your family together, you want everything to turn out well. Repos, or Azure Repos, is like a secure digital filing cabinet for all your important documents. If you were writing a book with several friends, Repos would be where you keep all the chapters, edits, and notes, allowing everyone to access and contribute as needed. Imagine pipelines as like a high-tech conveyor belt in a factory. If you were building a toy, pipelines would be the system that takes the parts, assembles them, paints the toy, and then packages it into the box, all in an organised sequence. Azure test plans can be likened to a rigorous rehearsal before a play. If you were directing a theatre performance, test plans would be like where you run through every scene, checking the lighting, sound and acting, making sure everything's perfect for opening night. Consider Azure Artifacts as the storeroom where you keep the special ingredients for a secret recipe. If you were a chef, Artifacts would be like where you store unique spices and sauces, making them available to your kitchen staff, but keeping them organised and secure. Welcome to Azure DevOps. Let's take a tour around and see what we can see here. When you first land in Azure DevOps, you land in what's called the organisation area, which contains all of the projects that are within that organisation. In this particular case, there's only one project that I can see here. One thing of note is that when you have a project, sometimes you can't see it based on your access levels that are granted by the administrator. If we click into the project, we can now see an overview about what the project is about. In this particular case, this comes from what's called the README file, which is within the repo, but we'll look at that later on. This overview page, the summary of the project, provides an overview about the project, some information about the boards and the information within the boards and the number of members of the project. If you have the right permissions, you can also invite other members to the team to take part as well. Now that we understand a bit more about the summary area, let's look into boards. Welcome to the board section of Azure DevOps. The first section in the board section is called work items. These are all the recently updated work items that have been created. Here you can already see there's an existing list that I created specially related to what we talked about with boards before, which was having the family round. A new item is created by selecting this button and basically selecting the type of work item that you want. If you want to learn more about the types of work items in Azure DevOps, just write a comment down below and I will tell you more about them as needed. What's important here is that each of these tasks that have been created I've associated to a time period in time, which is on a blue type of work item, so you can create a hierarchy relationship between the different work items. What this allows you to do when you select boards, for example, is you can then see all of the different user stories here represented the time, which would say 1 week before, and then you can see all of the tasks that would need to be done 1 week before, and so on and so forth. This provides an easy overview so that as you are assigning the work that needs to be done, you can easily then select the type of person who needs to take on the work. In this case, I've assigned myself, and as I do the work, I can then move it into active, select the things that I do as I complete them, and when I've finished everything, I can then move it to closed. What this allows it to do is that other team members can then easily see who is taking on what task, who is doing which work, and when was it completed. This is really important when you're planning a big project so that each member maintains visibility over the work and who's doing it. Another way of looking at it, unlike the pin board, which may be familiar, is something called a backlog. The reason why a backlog can be useful is that it allows you to then view the work that you have planned, and then you can put it into what's called sprints. Sprints are a period of time, typically 1 to 2 weeks, through which work would be planned in a software engineering project, for example. This way of planning ensures that everyone in the team can see the type of work that they have within that time period, and then they can get a quick overview of the planned effort that needs to be done. In this particular case, we have the planned effort from the 7th of May until the 21st of May, which would be a 2-week sprint in this particular case, which is all the work that's being done here. In addition to backlogs and sprints, there's a really useful area called queries. What queries allow you to do is easily and quickly see the work items that you want to see yourself. So not if they don't exist in one of the previous views, you can use a query to look at exactly what you want to view. In this particular case, I want to see all of the tasks that have been completed. I can then check the query, run the query, and I can see that 3 of the tasks have been completed. You can add additional clauses to understand more. In this particular case, this is a simple one. Save it and then look at the results later on. In this case, I'm going to save this query and we're going to use it in a moment when we create a dashboard. Okay, this pretty much completes the work items section. Let's have a quick look into the repos section. A repo is kind of like a folder that you would have on your computer. It's an online file storage place. But it brings with it what's called source control, or a way of managing the updates that are made to those folders. If you have multiple people working at one time, you obviously don't want everyone to just be throwing files in that could be updating each other's work or could be conflicting with one another. So in this particular case, you use a combination of commits and pull requests to manage the updates that people would make. In this case, there's already a short introductory file created here as well, which is just a readme, which is a template. These are very common to explain the outline of what the repository would contain. I'm going to create a quick branch. What this branch will do is it will be my changes. So I'm going to name it Paying It Forward Changes. I'm going to create that branch, and you'll see nothing has changed. It just showed the type of branch that's there. I'm going to edit this page, so I'm going to click on this file, and then I'm going to make an edit, and I'm going to say this repo is all about planning the next family get together. I'm going to commit this change, and then I'm going to commit it. I also want to add a new file as well to the repo, so I'm going to come back to the repo. I'm going to hit this button here, hit on new, add a new file, and I'm going to put in here a shopping list. At the end you can see I use .md. .md means markdown, which is the basic format of text documents that you would store within a repository. If you want to learn more about that, don't hesitate to let me know down below. Okay, so I've got a list here that I made earlier, and I'm just going to paste it into the shopping list. You can see I'm using these little brackets. These brackets, what they will do is provide ticks that I can use when I'm making my updates later. I'm going to save or commit these changes. I'm going to commit that, and now I basically have two changes that I've made to the existing main. So you can see this is what it previously looked like. You can see here's the old version, and this is the version with my changes in it. How do I now get those changes in? I do that through creating a pull request, which is asking me to do here. If I hit that, I can then say updating with new changes. I can say please take a look. I can add a reviewer and any other information that I want. You can see here it's detected the files that have been changed and which changes have been made to those files. So in this case, anything that's red is things that have been deleted, anything that's green is things that have been added. And this has been done through two commits. Those two commits represent the 2 moments in time where I made a save to make a change. I hit the create button. It would then, the second person, or the person who would be doing the review, would then come in and have a look at the changes. In this case, I'm going to approve the changes, and I'm going to mark them as complete. Once this work has been completed, we'll come back to the repo, and you'll see that it's all been updated. So I get now a new overview of the files. If I come back to the overview, you'll also see that the introductory text that was being used here from that README file has also been updated as well. Awesome stuff. Last but not least, let's take a look into dashboards. Dashboards can be a very useful way of looking over the progress of a project that you'll be doing with a team. They're normally based on using queries that you've created in your boards to look at all of the things that need to be done. I'm going to create one additional query now, super quick, which basically just looks for all of the tasks that are open. So I'm going to say everything that isn't closed. I'm going to save that and go and call it open tasks. So now I've got closed tasks and open tasks. I can now come to the dashboard. I can add a widget here, and this will show me. Let's go down to the query tile, and you'll see it allows us to add 2 of them. We're just going to put 2 here like this. So I'm just going to come to these query tiles, hit on the configure button, select the necessary query, and then it shows you the overall number. So in this case, tasks that have yet to be completed. And then on this one, we're going to say tasks completed. And we're going to select the appropriate query and give it a nice color. Once you're done editing, you can then have a very quick overview on the dashboard of all of the different things in the project that still need to be done and all of the things that have been completed. Let's take stock of what we've learnt so far. In Azure DevOps, you have an organization that contains multiple or one project. A project is a place that a team can come together to work on things together. In the overview section, they have a summary of what the project's about and key information and stats and all the members of the project. In the boards section, teams can plan out the work, view the work, see who's working on the work, what has been completed and not completed, and provide queries and views to help them identify anything they need to see within the work. Repos is the place for storing files and key information about the project. All this is done through source control to ensure any changes that are made are reviewed with the team first. Last but not least, we have dashboards that provide teams the ability to customize an overview of what the project is about, with key information pertaining to points about the project, for example, how much work it has been done and how much work still needs to be done. That completes our overview of Azure DevOps. For any additional questions or information needed, please type a comment down below. Alright, to close out the appendix of this video, I want to show you two key resources in relation to Azure DevOps. First of all, if you come to this page, which will be linked down below, you can start using Azure DevOps for free today. It also provides you a key overview on some of the features that we talked about in this video. Last but not least, I want to share with you Azure DevOps documentation. The documentation for Azure DevOps is really great. I've always found all the answers that I need in relation to any questions that I have or support needs that I have. There's a great community online around Azure DevOps, always willing to help answer any of questions that you would have. Thank you for joining me today on Paying It Forward. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe, like and share with others. Remember, knowledge grows when shared. So keep learning, keep growing and keep paying it forwards.